800-826-9.
When it comes to houses, disassembly is our game, deconstruction is our fame. There are some bucks for your project. Better Futures Minnesota is your contact.
Instead of demolishing your home, let us take it apart by hand, and we can find the building materials a new home. Limited funds are allotted in 2023 for Hennepin County residents and public entities to make deconstruction even more affordable. Check out betterfuturesminnesota.com. That's betterfuturesminnesota.com.
Seward Co-op is now offering convenient self-serve and prepackaged hot options and salad bars at both the Franklin and Friendship stores. Breakfast items available daily until 11 a.m. and brunch served all day every Sunday. Their weekly lunch and dinner menus highlight cuisines from around the world. They offer vegan, vegetarian, and gluten-free options daily. 95% of the ingredients used are organic from small-scale, local community food producers whenever possible. More at seward.coop.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
At Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, we have wood stoves that qualify for the new 30% income tax credit. A great opportunity to get an efficient stove and heat with renewable energy.
Right now, avoid supply chain delays, avoid the fall rush, avoid bad weather installation, and save money because we are now discounting the price on all chimney parts you need for installation for any of Woodland's new stoves and fireplaces.
We can help you with the stove and the chimney planning. Want to do it yourself? We will help you determine all the parts needed with our installation know-how. We have been installing wood stoves and fireplaces for over 45 years.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces has over 35 working wood, gas, and electric units on display at the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis. Save money. Take advantage of the spring and summer chimney discounts when you buy any fireplace product right now at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilio. An air quality alert is in effect. Hazy skies tonight with a low of 55, and hazy sunshine again on Friday with a high of 82. The locally owned Vinaigrette has been offering the finest olive oils and vinegars since 2009. That's Vinaigrette, Xerxes Avenue and 50th Street in Minneapolis, or at vinaigrettemn.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake. Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. We discuss local and national Native news and events. And as you know, Haley, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
You're absolutely right, Dega. This portion of the show is supported by Fair Financial. You work hard for every cent you make. You have bills and you have goals. Choose a bank that's going to support you along the way. That's Fair Financial Banking. No overdraft fees, no minimum balance, no credit score required. Call 651-262-2173 to talk to a Fair Financial enroller to open your account today. Keep more of your money. That's fair. Learn more at www.fairfinancial.org. FAIR is a program of Prepare and Prosper, a nonprofit organization, and is not a bank. Banking services are provided by Sunrise Banks, N.A., member FDIC.
Right on. Hey, we have Robert Lilligren, CEO of Native American Community Development Institute. But before we get to our super guest, Robert, why don't we take a quick listen update from Wisconsin Governor Evers.
Hey there, Native Roots Radio.
Governor Tony Evers here with my weekly update. When I ran to be your governor, I promised to fix the darn roads, and I meant it. After years of neglect that led to crumbling roads and infrastructure across our state, in my first term, we provided new funding for highways, local roads, transit aids, and we made historic investments in our infrastructure, investing more ongoing revenue than ever before while maintaining the lowest bond rating levels in the last 20 years. And since 2019, I'm proud that my administration has improved nearly 1,600 bridges and over 5,800 miles of roads across the state. And I've even improved some of those roads myself while out on pothole patrol. So I'm proud the third biennial budget I signed into law earlier this month builds on these efforts with significant investments, including $100 million for the local road improvement program, $150 million for the newly created agricultural road improvement program, and the highest ever funding for general transportation aids. These investments will go directly into local communities to help improve the roads families, farmers, and communities use every day to get from point A to point B. We're also investing in local bridge improvement projects across the state, as well as the critical interstate Blotnick Bridge reconstruction project in Superior and the Nitschke Bridge in Green Bay. Safe, reliable infrastructure is critical to the success of Wisconsin's economy and workforce, and ensuring these connections for local communities is essential to keeping our state moving forward. Together, we will build the 21st century infrastructure Wisconsin needs to support a 21st century economy and workforce. Thank you. Back to you, Robert, and Native Roots Radio.
Hey, Pinagigi, Governor Evers with that update. Hey, we're here with Robert Lilligren, Native American Community Development Institute. And I just got to say, Robert, it's always great to hear from the governor of Wisconsin. And I learned, I know this word, but the secret word now I think is racketeering. Racketeering.
Oh, yeah, it's on the tip of everyone's tongue. Bonjour, Robert. Bonjour, Haley. Nice to see ya.
Yeah, great to hear from the governor, and I know we have a lot to unravel here, politically, nationally, and locally, and that's why it's great to have you on with your insight and knowledge about what's happening that affects us here in Minnesota and Wisconsin and all over Turtle Island. So thank you as always, Robert Lilligren.
It's always a pleasure to be here, and I think you give me way too much credit, Robert, but I guess I'll take it.
No, not enough credit. Hey, so always we got a quick segment here and then another one with you. I want to jump on what is your feeling? What are you grooving on with this Trump situation here now? Another racketeering. Now they're bringing more to the party here in Georgia, 18 other people, which makes me happy.
Right. And these charges are pretty significant, right? There's a different feeling with this round of indictments, and it's kind of a shame that we have to speak as about an ex-president in terms of rounds of indictments. But these charges carry a minimum of 5-year prison sentence, and so that indicates to me that some of these other 18 folks that are coming along with them will be very interested in flipping and bargaining to get out of these charges and avoid a 5-year prison sentence. I think this is going to be something like we have never seen before.
Well, also too, I heard on another station that with all these things against Trump now, he could land at 740 years and 6 months in prison if he's convicted in all these charges.
Fingers crossed. We'll see where it goes. Fingers and toes crossed. And it seems like it's taken so long to get to this point, but you can imagine why these prosecutors don't want to bring anything other than a rock solid case forward. And so I'm hopeful and somewhat confident that they have plenty of evidence and that justice will be served.
Yeah, Robert, the list doesn't have a couple people on there that I thought would be on there, and I'm wondering if they're working with the government.
Yeah.
There's
The
like the
kids.
former general and a couple other people.
Yeah. So I think that's a good assumption to make, an easy assumption to make if they're not being prosecuted, although it's likely that they're cooperating. I think you'll see a fair amount of cooperation, more cooperation going forward. And And it's so interesting to watch the Republicans and the conservatives' responses trying to minimize what I would think of as treason, but this inciting an insurrection to destroy our democracy, and saying, "Oh, it's just fair game. He was just challenging election results. That's legal," which it is, challenging election results, but whipping up a mob to attack the Capitol and lawmakers is criminal.
Well, it's interesting too that we lived through, and I was fairly young, but we lived through the Nixon resignation, and how quickly the Republicans tried to get on the right side of history by wanting to impeach him, and then Nixon resigning. But they're digging in deeper with them, and they're minimizing these things. And do you remember Robert? I think he was president for 2 years, and he had over like 10,000 lies in 2 years. So
Oh yeah. It was like it comes down to hundreds of lies every single day, and anyone who subscribes to and embraces the truth, I don't know how they could support this person. And anyone who supports law and order, I don't understand how they couldn't support due process and what we're going through now. It's like upside down world.
yeah, it is, and
Well,
the people. It is. That's a good way to put it.
and I like that you brought up Watergate, and I'm sure some of the listeners here are a little too young to remember that. But remember how just dirty and filthy that felt and seemed, and compared to what's going on now, it was like a picnic in the park.
Right.
It was a break-in and some dirty politics, and this is much, much more egregious than that. Not even in the same caliber. It amazes me that this is what our normal is.
Yeah, it really does, and hopefully we're just on that. And maybe we can talk a little bit about this, and of course, what you want to next segment is they talk about a 80-year cycle of fascism, and we're at that cycle again, and hopefully after maybe a conviction or two, we can get on the downswing of that cycle now.
I would welcome that.
Right on. Hey, we're here with Robert Lilligren, and we're going to take a quick break. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake.
Stay with us.
I heard sex trafficking happens a lot in Indian country. What is that?
Here are some of the real reasons why sex trafficking happens in Indian country. Unequal gender roles that were forced on us by colonization. Communities don't have enough resources. Silence around domestic and sexual violence. Lack of attention and justice for missing and murdered Indigenous people. There's a lot of behavior that keeps our communities out of balance. These are just a few true reasons why Native communities are targeted by traffickers. When these acts of violence happen in our communities, it opens us all up for exploitation.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
As we emerge from the shadows of the pandemic, let us celebrate our resilience and embrace the path to a brighter future. While the COVID-19 emergency declaration may be over, our commitment to safety remains stronger than ever. We invite you to stand tall and protect what matters most, our health and the well-being of our loved ones and elders. The power to keep our community safe lies within each one of us. It's important to remember the basics when you're with someone who might be at risk of COVID complications. Wear your mask, wash your hands often, and take an at-home COVID test if you have any symptoms. We are a strong and interconnected community, and together we'll emerge from this challenge stronger than ever. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep the spirit of our Native American culture thriving. Find more tips on continuing to be safe at health.state.mn.us. That's health.state.mn.us.
This message is brought to you in partnership with the Minnesota Department of Health.
This is Leonard Peltier. I am in Coleman 1, U.S. Penitentiary, and I'm listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by the Native American Community Development Institute in Minneapolis.
Yes, it is. Hey, we're here with Robert Lilligren, Native American Community Development Institute CEO, a White Earth Ojibwe citizen, and all-around groovy guy. Lot happening, lot happening, Robert. Just recently, I just want to touch on this because it is a big deal, and I know yesterday we talked about it too. But the passing of a great leader, Ada. Ada Deer, and what a trailblazer she is or was, and the lieutenant governor sent out a big statement about her, the passing of her, and it's just we want to recognize that.
Yeah, that is huge. And I didn't know her personally, but of course I know of her work. How could you not? And it is a huge loss. And she was, like you said, a trailblazer, right? She was the first woman to run for statewide office, the first Native woman to run for statewide office. I think maybe the second to run for Congress. And she opened doors and restored rights. Right? She was just a force of nature. That's how I see her referred to a lot since her passing.
She was also the first woman director of the BIA, which I did not know until just her passing when I read a few things on there on her. And also just a re-recognition of the Menominee tribe she was a trailblazer in that. And people don't know the government at a whim, and especially if they want your wood or they can
your resources,
recognize you like they did the Menominee Nation in the 50s.
Yeah, yep, and yeah, she was the first woman chair of the Menominee Nation, and yeah, she protected a lot of people's rights, and you're right, especially 50 years ago or whatever, those kinds of things happened in the dark, right, in silence, and very few people had the heft to call attention to them, to fight against them, and people like us, the three, can do our work because of what she did. So, Chi Miigwech.
Yeah, it's always sad, and it's always interesting to hear, like you said, and I didn't even think about that. The 50s was 70 years ago, and if she was trailblazing back then, that's unbelievable.
Right, totally unbelievable. We stand on the shoulders of giants, that's for sure.
Absolutely. So, hey, I saw you today at the Four Sisters Market. I want to just give a quick
Yeah.
shout out to them and that. Always a great place to hang out and see people and see you and the great work and hanging out on the avenue.
I thought it was great. It was great to see you there. It's great to see everybody there. It is just a little social scene going on, and it's so good to have a social scene, in our community. And we had live music today, and lots of vendors, lots of activities, folks engaging with the community, and yeah, just a good time all around. I encourage if folks live in town or are visiting, it's every Thursday, 11 to 3. Right on Franklin Avenue, the American Indian Cultural Corridor, at our little yellow building where Powwow Grounds is, and our gallery, All My Relations Arts. Stop down. It's the place to see and be seen on the Thursday.
That's right.
on the Cultural Corridor.
That's right. And stop in at the Powwow Grounds because they do that special fry bread pizza and taco, and it's delicious. And if you're a connoisseur of fry bread, that is one of the best fry breads I've ever had.
It is pretty good. The owner of Powwow Grounds, the coffee shop, vends at the market outdoors, and he spent years on that recipe, just tweaking it a little here, a little there. But since he really hit on it, he does produce some of the best. And you hate to say the best because then you can create conflict in the community, but it is some of the best fry bread going. And it was busy today, the coffee shop.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know what you'd like to talk about here. I want to make sure that we get what you want to talk about, but there's so many things talking about that we've talked about in the week, and anywhere from reservation dogs to dark winds. We had Rihanna Yazian who wrote the first episode of Dark Winds. And it's a renaissance. I don't know if it's called a renaissance, but it's definitely uplifting our native people. And but we also get these weird little news things that come across our desk, like there's a big petition to rename the Cleveland team the Indians again and the Redskins again, and there's a big petition out there, and it's just like upside down world again.
Yeah, it is kind of upside down world. It's so surprising that we'll step back, really, but as a country, in so many ways, we're preparing to take huge steps backward, and whether it's on Native issues or LGBTQ issues or whatever, there's an interest in turning around and going backward, and we're heading into a time of, I think, significant change, maybe significant conflict, and we need to be ready, and we need to work together. We need to organize. That's why I love doing the work at NACD, just because we're kind of out there in all of these realms, right? Whether it's arts, whether it's voting, civic engagement, food sovereignty. We're working in the community, and then we operate at the sort of systems change level too.
Yeah, and that is amazing too, and what work you do, and also you have the you have the artist place to go see art next to the coffee shop, and it's just people come on out there.
Yeah, to all my relations arts, it's a gallery in our little building right on 15th and Franklin, the American Indian Cultural Corridor. There's always something cool going on. Right now we have this incredible print exhibit by a Native artist named Laura Young Bird. It focuses on the dress in a lot of ways, the red dress, but the dress in her history. And tonight, it's too late to join this, but there's a printmaking workshop that the artist Laura Young Bird is leading. It's called jelly printing. It's kind of a new form of mono printing, but she's teaching other folks how to do it. And that's really part of NACD's mission, is to make sure that we are building capacity and sort of expanding the cadre of Native artists that do things like printmaking and things like that. And then next Friday, we'll have a reading in the gallery, All My Relations Arts Gallery, of our Native authors cohort. It's our second cohort of Native authors. We get a professional Native author as a mentor who works with Native people to prepare them to publish. And so 4 of the authors of the recent cohort will be participating in a reading of their works next Friday, a week from tomorrow.
Wow, that is really exciting. Definitely. I'll be schlepping t-shirts at the state fair though on Friday.
Oh, that's right.
We're fighting Native stealing art one t-shirt at a time.
Isn't that something? Yeah, you busy little entrepreneur, you. Congratulations. And so folks who be from out of state, first off, the Minnesota State Fair is a big deal in our world, and to be a vendor there is really something. Not everybody can make it in there. And this is what, your second year or third, Robert?
Second year, and we're totally blessed. We're down by the old International Square, and it's called the West End Market, and we are fighting appropriation one t-shirt at a time, I think, and there's a lot of appropriation at the fair, and the fair is the second largest fair in the country, Texas being the largest, but they're a 30-day fair.
Right, and something like 1 million people go to our fair in 12 days, and so it's really an achievement for you to be a vendor there. So congratulations, and save me a t-shirt.
Yeah, I will. And then also they have the Shakopee powwow this weekend too, if anybody's in the cities.
That is huge, a huge event. The Metawakan Sioux, the Shakopee tribe, their powwow is really something. And it's not just Dakota people that go there, it's everyone. Are you heading out there? Oh no, you'll be at the fair. You'll be at the fair.
Well, no, we'll be out there. Native Roots Arts will be out there too at the Shakopee powwow. So we're working our kids here in the next 3 weeks, so it's a good thing.
Yeah.
And the Shakopee powwow is so set up. If you're parked a long ways away, they come and get you in a golf cart, and then it's the longest grand entry I've seen other than the Gatherings of Nations personally, and it's just an amazing thing. So everyone come on out there. Just be respectful. If you don't know what to do, just be quiet and don't take pictures unless you've asked, and things like that.
Right, and just take it all in. It is spectacular. Spectacular. And yeah, so folks from out of the area, the Shakopee tribe is our major tribal presence here within the metropolitan area. And they're one of two tribes that have land within the metropolitan area, the other being Prairie Island Community, which just recently annexed a small piece of property in the East Metro. So 2 of our 11 federally recognized tribes in the state have metro presences. And as folks may have heard before, I'm part of our regional government. I serve as a representative on our Metropolitan Council, appointed by the governor. And we recently implemented our first tribal and native consultation policy. And just this week, a job was posted for our tribal relations and native community liaison position. So Met Council is hiring. If folks are interested, they go to metcouncil.org and to apply for this position. But this is pretty groundbreaking for any regional government in the country, but it's a big step forward, and I've really been honored to be part of helping to develop this position.
Yeah, I saw that come across our Native Roots Radio email, and I thought of you right away because of your presence with the council, and that's just a good medicine right there. And I got to say a big congratulations, Robert.
Congratulations to us all, and it's really been a joy. I was working with a candidate who's going to apply today and kind of translating the job posting from government into normal speak, and then this had to go, yeah, this was me. I put these words here. And then I said, it just feels good to see your work like that.
Absolutely. Hey, thanks, Robert, for stopping in as usual and giving us your great insight. Really appreciate you and all the work NATKE does, but also what you do. So Native American Community Development Institute here in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis. Thanks again, Robert.
Yeah,
all right, we'll see you next week. Hey, we'll be right back. This is Native Roots Radio with Robert Blake from Red Lake. Stay with us.
You work hard for every cent you make. You have bills and you have goals. Choose a bank that's going to support you along the way. That's Fair Financial Banking. No overdraft fees, no minimum balance, no credit score required. Call 651-262-2173 to talk to a Fair Financial enroller to open your account today. Keep more of your money. That's fair. Fairfinancial.org. Fair is a program of Prepare Plus Prosper, a nonprofit organization, and is not a bank. Banking services are provided by Sunrise Banks N.A., member FDIC.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States.
And 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected.
Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf.
Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy.
As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired.
Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950, here to tell you about the exterior construction company I trust, Snap Construction. If your home was hit with the most recent storms, trust the most well-reviewed exterior construction company, Snap Construction, for a free home inspection.
This is Ryan, owner of Snap Construction. There are a lot of great construction companies in town. My advice is to take your time and do your research. Make sure they are locally owned and that they guarantee their craftsmanship for life. Also, you want to find a company that's been in business for at least 10 years. You want to work with a company that's going to be there long after the work is done. Snap Construction has handled thousands of claims, and we'll help you through the process.
Don't go with the out-of-town fly-by-night contractor. Most storm damage goes missed by the untrained eye. Trust Snap Construction for your free storm damage evaluation. For your free storm damage evaluation, call Snap Construction at 612-333-SNAP or visit them online at snapconstruction.com. That's 612-333-SNAP or snapconstruction.com.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. We have families waiting for a car. You know, over 85% of unemployed are successful in finding and keeping a job if they have dependable transportation. A car plus a job equals a life changed. 612-919-5526. We have families waiting for a car. 919-5526 or autotech.org.
The Merity family of companies serves seniors and people with a wide range of disabilities. We provide home health care, hospice services, and accessible rental housing. This is Mary T, and we'd like you to join us. We're hiring direct care professionals, CNAs, nurses, and other support services. Our mission is to provide quality, personalized services to meet the unique and evolving needs of the people that we serve. Join a Minnesota family-owned company that was founded on a history of care. Apply today at marytinc.com/careers.
The Park Tavern in St. Louis Park is your summer destination. The patio is amazing, perfect for you and your friends to grab dinner and drinks. Enjoy a game of cornhole while you indulge in the great food. The full Park Tavern menu is available outside. The Park Tavern also has live music on the patio every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and even some Mondays through the summer. Reservations are highly recommended. And if the weather does turn, the bowling lanes at the Park Tavern are always open and are spectacular. On Louisiana Avenue, north of Highway 7 in St. Louis Park, the perfect summer is waiting for you at the Park Tavern.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilio. An air quality alert is in effect. Hazy skies tonight with a low of 55, and hazy sunshine again on Friday with a high of 82. The locally owned Vinaigrette has been offering the finest olive oils and vinegars since 2009. That's Vinaigrette, Xerxes Avenue and 50th Street in Minneapolis, or at vinaigrettemn.com.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by St. Paul Public Schools, now giving out signing bonuses. Make sure to check them out at spps.org.
Hey, we're here with Bob Blake from Red Lake, and we're talking with the Solar Bear with the Solar News. Welcome, Robert.
Hey, bonjour, everyone. How you doing, Robert? How's everyone doing out there?
Wow, you sound really good, and your voice is really deep. What's going on over there, Robert? You got total setup, and we're not looking at Apocalypse Now, too. You just need a circle ring.
I've got the Yeti. I've got the Yeti going today, and the earphones. I'm looking kind of fly over here.
And you got a Solar Bear hat on too.
And I got a Solar Bear hat on. Hey, Robert, it's a great day to be Indigenous, and it's also a great time to be in the renewable energy industry. Do you know what this week is happening in the renewable energy world right now? It's a big week. Do you know what happened this week?
No, tell me.
It's been 1 year since the greatest piece of legislation passed to fight climate change ever in this country was passed at this time last year. The Inflation Reduction Act, the IRA.
Wow, that is awesome. And we're still talking about it and still maneuvering around it and trying to figure it out. And that's awesome.
Yeah, and that's true. But I just want to throw a couple of things out there real quick. 370 billion spending in tax credits has been implemented through this to move the country towards a cleaner future. And what this is going to do, Robert, is what they're saying is that by the end of this decade, we're going to be able to reduce our reliance on fossil fuels and greenhouse gas emissions in this country by 50%. Now, this is incredible because you know and I know, Robert, that in order for us to stop putting greenhouse gas emissions in the air, we have to transition to something else like solar, electric batteries, wind, other forms of hydro, other forms of renewable energy. And this right here has been able to give us that jump start. And there has been professors, there has been, a lot of educated people out there that was really doubting this country and could we move in this direction. And I'm here to say right now that from what the statistics are saying right now, America, the United States, Turtle Island is moving a lot faster and a lot quicker than everyone had predicted, because people are getting behind this. This is self-preservation. Like, people are realizing that, the future, includes them, and they want to be a part of, making it a better place and a better world for all of us. And so I really believe that that's the story. That's the untold story about this Inflation Reduction Act.
That's awesome. And boy, we need it, especially what happened in Hawaii. They're talking about is that's an electric fire that started from the power lines, and then the 70-mile-an-hour wind, and then the dried ground. Global warming.
Yeah, and that's true. And Robert, we are going to be dealing with this situation for a long time, and that's why just recently, there was there is an opportunity for tribal nations to redo their grid, the power lines, infrastructure, stuff like that. And I highly suggest to tribal nations to apply for this grant, to be a part of it, because this is just science. It's the jet stream is picking up all the moisture from the ground. It's carrying it out to the East Coast. That's why you got all the flooding. It's like these big lakes that are following the jet stream, right? And so consequently, places like Hawaii, the West Coast, where you're seeing a lot of these fires right now, that's the reason why, right? And so, in these areas, you have a lot of tribal nations, and so this opportunity to do these studies, to be able to do these different types of technology changes around your communities. Please, tribes, if you're listening to this, and I know that would they all listen to AM 950, the Native Roots Radio Network. Please tell your leadership to get involved in this and to make the necessary changes, because a lot of the stuff can be avoided by just planning, by being able to have the necessary different mechanisms in place, because we know that climate change is real, and unfortunately, Robert, this has been another example of, I think, people not taking this seriously enough.
Yeah, definitely. But it's a major wake-up call in Hawaii. It's just a tip of the iceberg what can be happening if we don't take care of this. And that's really great news, too, about that we're ahead of schedule. I just can't say enough back. And what I really like is what Nina just put up there, because this is really huge. And I think we're going to have Kayla Kelly out of Hawaii on the show next week. But Hawaiian land back to Hawaiians. How important is that? I mean, that it's so expensive to live in Hawaii. The original peoples can't find a place to live because it's so expensive. But good call, Nina.
Yeah, I would say too that, I mean, and this is a wake up call for not only Hawaii but for the country, for the world, that we really need to get back to indigenous practices, land practices, and quit, being at war with the environment and start being at peace with it, and so, I think this is just another example. But hey, Robert, let me just give you a few more statistics here on the Inflation Reduction, because this is it's been a year now. This is a really big piece of legislation. This intends to save American families, right, up to $38 billion on their electricity bills, right? And this is going to reduce, like I said, U.S. Greenhouse gas emissions by 40% by 2030, strengthen U.S. security by reducing net crude oil imports by nearly 60%, reduce industrial and manufacturing emissions up to 40%. And this is going to be below 2005 levels. And this is where we got to go, people. Double the share of American electricity generated by clean energy sources to 80%, Robert. That means more and more people across this country are going to be using renewable energy up to 80%. That's huge. Accelerate the electrification of the American vehicle fleet, the share of zero emissions light duty vehicle sales reaching up to 65%. This is like game changing. Like, everybody jump on board, like, get on the back, and come on in for the big win with the home team here, because that's exactly what's happening here. And I cannot stress to everybody that we have to elect, climate champions. We have to get people that are in leadership positions that are going to take this seriously and that are going to look out for the future of all of us and for the future of our children in the next 7 generations.
Wow, well said. Well said. We got a couple minutes left here. What else do you got for us, Robert?
Well, there's been a lot of different types of solar projects that have been happening across the state of Minnesota right now. And one of the big ones, of course, that I've been working on is the one down in Prairie Island right now. And I just want to say, Robert, it's going great. We've got tribal members that have been working on this project. And PBS is actually flying into town, Robert, to do a story on me. And so they'll have some of this footage, and you'll be able to see it in a actual report that they're going to be doing coming up here that they'll be showing on the on their channel. And or I think it's channel 2, I think.
Yeah. In Minnesota. Yep, definitely.
Yep. And then I'll also be doing a interview tomorrow on NPR. So NPR will be doing a report. They're doing something around renewable energy here in the state, and I'm going to be one of the stories that they're going to be doing. So it's going to be really cool.
Right on. Don't forget to give a shout out to Native Roots Radio on NPR. Just kidding.
Oh, absolutely. You're the one that gave me my start, Robert. This is where the Solar News with the Solar Bear first started.
Right. Hey, we only got a minute left here. I will be seeing you tomorrow morning, and I'll give you a call at 8:30 to prep up for our 9 o'clock meeting. But that's just something I wanted to say before we got off, because I'm making like a tree and leafing here very soon. What else can we do? We can call our Congress people. We can talk about, hey, let's get into liquid hydrogen batteries. Let's push on that. Let's get the government behind that and start really being super clean about things, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think just one last thing I want to leave everybody with is just that, collaborate, communicate, cooperation is really what we're going to need amongst all of us. And I know Alaska is doing some really great work up there. And they're really showing some really good opportunities of how everyone is coming together because they're really seeing the effects of climate change up there, Robert. With the melting of the of their homelands and everything. Yeah, there's some really good stories out there around Alaskans and everyone coming together to fight climate change.
Wow. Hey, well, I have to make like a tree and leaf here, so I'm going to let Haley end this segment here in the next minute. I have a meeting I have to run to, but Bob, thank you so much for being on. And Haley, it looks like you got a minute. You got a minute left to quiz Robert Blake. We had Robert Lilligren on earlier.
Yes, it was the Robert show, as it usually was. Thanks, Dega. Have fun at your meeting. Good to see you, Bob. And thanks for the stats and all that. And I'm excited to hear that the country's moving forward in a more progressive way than we thought.
Yeah, absolutely, Haley. Like that's the good news that has come out with with this 1-year anniversary of the Inflation Reduction Act. And I would just like to send out a big shout out to Dr. Pete Wyckoff of the Commerce Department, the Minnesota Department of Commerce. He was a big person that worked on this. A Minnesotan guy from University of Minnesota Morris. He was one of Senator Tina Smith's staffers. And by the way, our own Senator Tina Smith, she was a big part of that push too in Washington. She tells a great story about her and Joe Manchin and how she was like kind of razzing him and like, hey, we got to get you on board here with all this renewable energy. And so, I mean, Senator Tina Smith and Dr. Pete Wyckoff, and there's some really good stories this week, Haley, on them through NPR and stuff, and they've been running them. So everyone can check those out. But they were very crucial to all of this work that was done. And so it's always good to see Minnesota voices out there in Washington push for the greater good.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, Bob, again. You guys, Bob Blake from Red Lake, owner of Solar Bear. We're going to be coming back after this short break with Wendy Pilot. Stay tuned.
J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Be a vaccinative. It's time to come together and talk about the urgent need to stay up to date on COVID-19 vaccinations to protect our heritage, our loved ones, and our future. Throughout history, we have always faced challenges, and today we must protect our culture and loved ones. This is our opportunity to ensure that our tribal gatherings once again resound with joy and celebration, where the echoes of our ancestors guide our steps. It's a chance to care for our elders, cherishing their wisdom and stories for generations to come. COVID-19 vaccines are safe and effective. Let us unite
welcome
resilient
back.
as ever and show the world the strength of the Native American community. Together, we shape a future where our traditions thrive, our children learn from our ancestors, and our people flourish once more. So be a vaccinative and learn more about staying up to date with your COVID vaccinations at health.state.mn.us. That's health.state.mn.us. This message is brought to you in partnership with the Minnesota Department of Health.
You know how it is with vacuum cleaners. You buy them, you break them, then you throw them away, right? Well, not necessarily. Often, fixing your vacuum can be cheaper than replacing it. Ever heard of A1 Vacuum in Roseville? They offer free estimates. So if you wish your vacuum worked like new again, drop by. A1 Vacuum is ready to help clean up your vacuum cleaner act. Find us at a-1vacuum.com or call 651-222-6316.
Hi, this is Representative Sharice Davids from Kansas. I'm Ho Chunk, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake.
This portion of the show is supported by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
Well, that's a lot of fun. Hey, it's Sacred Animals and relatives, and I want to introduce my awesome and beautiful wife, Wendy. Wendy has been an animal advocate for many years, and she fights injustice and gives us information here on Native Roots Radio for the past 7 years on our relatives, our sacred animals. And it's Fun Fact Friday, isn't it, Wendy? Whoa.
Yeah, well, I have some stuff going on that's important, and then we'll have some fun facts. So here we go. Hey, everybody, my name is Hanaji Hani. That means cares for them. I was given that name by my Dega Curtis. Curtis goes by Mashke Hanajingo, which means walks on white clouds. I'm a humane policy volunteer leader for the Humane Society of the United States, and I work on animal issues at the local and state level. And I have an article here from CBS News. It was just updated on August 15th, 2023, and it was written by Samir Singh. A new invasive species has been spotted in the U.S. for the first time. A living yellow-legged hornet, also known as an Asian hornet, was detected in Georgia, which state officials say could cause damage to the agricultural industry if left uncontrolled. The Georgia Department of Agriculture said Tuesday the discovery has potential to threaten honey population and native pollinators.
Wow.
Yeah, earlier this month, a Georgian beekeeper discovered and reported the insect to the state. The yellow-legged hornet's identity was then confirmed by the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service. Quote, Georgians play an important role helping GDA identify unwanted non-native pests. And I would like to thank the beekeeper who reported the sighting to us, said Georgia Agriculture Commissioner Tyler Harper in a statement. Quote, our experienced team of professionals will continue to access the situation and are working directly with the USDA to track, and eradicate the yellow-legged hornet in Georgia. The next step for officials will be to set up traps to find out if there are any more of these pests in the area. If they're able to find a colony, it will be destroyed, Georgia officials said. The hornet that has already been identified will be DNA tested so the scientists can determine whether the insect originated from Europe or Asia. The yellow-legged hornet, which is identified as a social wasp species, is native to tropical and subtropical areas of southeastern Asia and is also established in much of Europe, parts of the Middle East, and parts of Asia where it is not native. The insect builds egg-shaped nests, often in trees, and can host up to 6,000 worker hornets.
Gee.
Yeah, the press release emphasized how important public reports of this insect will be in its eradication efforts. The GDA encourages people to take photos of any insects they believe to be yellow-legged hornets and file a report. However, it is important to exercise caution around the hornets as they can be dangerous, the department said. In 2019, a relative of the yellow-legged hornet, the murder hornet or Asian giant hornet, caused alarm after being found in Washington state. The invasive species, which are now called northern giant hornets, were feared also because of their ability to rapidly kill domestic honeybees and hornet species. Washington state eradicated a giant nest of nearly 1,500 murder hornets in 2021. So we really need to be careful and keep an eye out.
How
So
do they get over here?
how do they
take
get over
a plane
here?
or
They must, right? They must get into something and then they travel by boat. You know, people get
plane.
on or they get in the cargo ships with, who knows, fruits and vegetables or whatever, and then they make their way to the land here in the United States, but it went to
Jeez.
Georgia.
I remember those
So,
gigantic bees that came out a couple of years ago that you just spoke of too.
yeah, and who knows with climate change and everything that's happening with weather changes and air alerts and all this stuff. Who knows? We really need to be diligent. But on a happier note, yeah. A friend of mine, Amy Leo, posted this today. Butterflies and turtles have a symbiotic relationship where the butterflies drink the turtles' tears as a source of sodium and minerals. In turn, the turtles get their eyes cleaned. Isn't that kind of cute? Here's a couple of facts.
Wait, is this Fun Facts Friday on Thursday?
It's about killer hornets and also
in
butterflies
turtle
and
tears,
turtles.
or turtle tears.
I have some information about cats too. Did you know that cats are believed to be the only mammal who don't taste sweets? I think I mentioned that once before. And house cats share 95.6% of their genetic makeup with tigers. Cats walk with both right feet, then both left feet, which camels and giraffes also do. That's like when you see cats and they have all the stuff on the floor and cats can walk by it without knocking anything over.
Unless they get old.
Well, that's why, because they walk that way.
That's
Cats
crazy.
stick their butts out into our face as a gesture of friendship.
Okay.
Yeah. Cats can drink seawater as their kidneys are able to filter salt out of the water.
Wow.
Yeah. Cats knock objects over and off edges to test for hidden prey.
You know, I want to sing the song Memories from Cats while
Yeah.
we're doing this.
And we're pretty sure that they like doing it just to annoy us too.
Absolutely.
Because Clyde, our cat, used to go up on the dining room table. If we had a pen up there or something, he would knock it off the floor. And then Mickey, our little Chihuahua dog, would come and pick it up and run away and wouldn't give it back to us.
Oh, Tommy did
It was
that
like
too.
their little game that they played. They're really cute.
Yeah.
People with cat allergies aren't allergic to the fur, but a protein found in a cat's saliva, urine, and dander. A cat's purr has the power to self-heal according to research.
Weird. Can you explain a little more? Or is
No,
that-
it doesn't have anything
Oh.
else. But a cat's purr has the power to self-heal according to research. So I guess if the cat doesn't feel good, maybe it will purr and it will feel better. But if you pet a cat and it purrs, then we feel better.
Oh.
Yeah. The collective noun for a group of wild cats is a destruction. A cat's tongue can lick bones clean of any bits of meat. Now, speaking of cats, how much time do I have left?
No, not any. No, about a minute and a half.
All right. So this is why you need to spay and neuter your cat. Did you know a couple of unfixed cats can turn into, the first year, 12 kittens? So the first year, a couple of unfixed cats can turn into 12 kittens. The second year, it can turn into 144 kittens.
Whoa.
Because of all the...
Sure,
all-
12
yeah,
times 12.
exactly.
12 times
The
12.
third year, 1,728 kittens. And the fourth year, 20,736 kittens. So
Gee.
please neuter and spay your cat and your dog too.
Do you remember Hemingway's house with the 4 hands and they had all
They had
these
four fingers.
or
The-
paws or whatever.
Yeah, six digits on
and that
there.
was he passed away in 1960 and there still was cats from that litter that he had from back then.
Yeah, that had the 6 digits on their paws.
Right on. Hey, if you're listening to the show, you're part of the resistance from Chief Plenty Coops, the ground in which we stand on is sacred ground. We need to resist, divest, join a group, run for office. We're still here. We are the 7th generation.
Free Leonard Peltier.
No.